Hey everybody. Okay, this is a video just doing an overview of measurement. So we're going to just talk about what to expect to see in this unit and just some things that we probably already know just to refresh your memory. Okay, so there's certain words we need to understand. So one is perimeter. And the perimeter tells us the distance around an object. So let's say we had a rectangle. If we wanted to know the perimeter of the rectangle, we would just add up the lengths of each side, and that would tell us the perimeter. So it's the distance around the outside of a closed figure. Even if that shape is made up of a whole bunch of different shapes. So even if we had like part rectangle and a little bit of a triangle there, like a bit of a semicircle, we got a whole bunch of different shapes in here. Or maybe that's just a trapezoid. We still calculate perimeter in the same way. So the perimeter of this object would just be the length of each side added together, and that would give us the perimeter. Now the perimeter of a circle has a fancy name. Instead of saying the perimeter of a circle, we actually give the circle the name circumference. So instead of the perimeter of a circle, we would say circumference of a circle. And that's just the distance around the outside of a circle. And there's a couple important circle measurements we should be familiar with. And one of them is called the radius. So from the center of the circle to any point on the outside of the on the circumference of the circle, like on the edge of the circle. So from any point from the center to a point on the circle, that distance is called the radius. So we call this the radius of a circle. And we represent it with a little r. And then there's another one, and that is the radius times 2. So we call this guy the distance from one side of the circle to the next going through the center. We call that the diameter of a circle. And we say like a d for that, and it's also equal to 2 times the radius. Okay, so those are important words. Let's also talk area. So the area of an object is the space inside of it. So let's take a rectangle again. The area of it is just the number of square units that we have inside of it. So the area of this object would be all of these guys added up. What is that? 24 square units. Yeah, so the area is the space inside of an object. And we can calculate the area of any shape. So we got rectangles. We're going to talk about trapezoids, which may look like this, or maybe they look like this. So you can find the area of those. We can find the area of circles. We can find the area of triangles. What else am I forgetting? Squares. Okay, that's all I got. Then, another word, let's talk about volume. So now we're talking 3-dimensional figures. So instead of a rectangle, now let's say we've got a rectangular prism. And when we're determining the volume, we're actually trying to determine how much space is inside of this rectangular prism. And that would be the volume. And we're going to look at rectangular prisms. We're going to look at cubes. We're going to look at cylinders. Maybe some cones. Spheres. Sorry. Triangular prisms. A pyramid. Like a square-based pyramid. And the volume of all of these shapes is the same. It's just the space inside of all of these 3-dimensional figures. And finally, we're going to also look at something called surface area. And the surface area of a shape is the area of each side. So if we looked at this rectangular prism, it's like the area of this side, and then the area of that side, and this top side, this bottom side, this side. And when we add up all the areas, that is the surface area of a shape. Yeah, so those are the main topics. We're gonna talk about, like, instead of me giving you formulas for these, you're gonna figure out how the formula works, and you could create the formula yourself because you'll hopefully understand it. We're gonna look at what happens when we change dimensions of shapes. So if this rectangle was like 3 meters by 1 meter, what happens if we doubled it? How would that change the perimeter or the area? So we're gonna look at like the connections between all of these perimeter, area, volume, topics, and formulas and shapes. We are also going to look at a little bit how to find the missing sides of right angle triangles. So if we knew the length of 2 sides of a triangle, could we find the third length? Turns out we can. We used to refer to it as Pythagorean theorem, and many still do. Some people just refer to it as, actually, I don't really know, but like determining missing sides of right angle triangles. So that's another topic we're going to cover. Yeah, and then we might just look at some cool geometry concepts, like maybe a couple angle things, and like, yeah, just look at some properties of circles. And that is what this unit is all about.